Good morning, children. Welcome back for today's session. Hope you all are doing well. The given assignment in a last session. Children, let me quickly recapitulate what we have seen in the previous class and go ahead with today's class. We learned about reading different kinds of maps in the past session. So, you know it very well. We learned about the physical maps, the different kinds of symbols used on a map, especially the colors and the conventional symbols used on a map. And we also have learned how to project heights on a map. So, drawing the height line or heights, how to measure the heights on a map also we have learned with the help of contour lines. These lines help us to understand about the height of a place from the mean sea level. This is what we need to discuss in detail now. It's the mean sea level. As you all know, children, the sea level all over the world remain uniform, remain same. But sea water is never still. They rise and they fall. There are high tides and there are low tides. So which level should be considered as a mean sea level or the zero level? So in order to understand this mean sea level, they have measured the sea level at frequent intervals and arrived at a conclusion what should be the average sea level by the scientists. So since then we consider that level as a 0 meters or the mean sea level, and all the heights on the earth are measured from that mean sea level, because all the oceans on the earth are interconnected. So we consider them as the mean sea level. This mean sea level will help us to understand the heights of the water bodies or the heights of the mountains and other landforms on the earth. With the help of this mean sea level, we can even draw the map showing the heights. You can observe the map 1.8 in your textbook, which shows different heights. For 0 to 50 meters, a single color was used, and for the mean sea level, they have used green color. So in the same way, different colors are used in order to project different height levels on a map. There is a work, a activity work given in the textbook where you can observe the map of Telangana with different kinds of colors, and there is an index box given to the left side of the map which tells about which color specifies what kind of height. So look at that map and answer the questions which are present under it. And at the same time, take the map of India, a political map of India, keep it in front of you and try to answer my questions. If Afzal is traveling from Hyderabad to Bhopal, in which direction is Afzal traveling? You want me to repeat? If Afzal is traveling from Hyderabad to Bhopal, in which direction is he traveling? If Pranav is traveling from Mumbai to Kohima, in which direction he is traveling? If Fatima is traveling from Kashmir to Chennai, in which direction is she traveling? So you can find out the directions by keeping the political map in front of you, and you can also make some more questions relating to it. After this, children, let us move on to the next topic today. Next topic. You know it very well. On the entire earth, 71% of this earth is covered with water bodies. And water is a crucial element for the growth and development of the human life and civilization. Is this water available throughout the year uniformly? No. Is this water available uniformly everywhere? No. So there are some places which have plenty of water, and there are some places which face scarcity of water. And is the quality remains the same all over the area? No. There are certain areas where you find good drinking water, and there are certain areas where you find hard and salty water. So let us understand in today's topic about rain and rivers. About the water diversity in the country. What is this water diversity? The availability of the water, the quality of the water, in which months it rains, in which months it doesn't rain, all such kind of things let us learn under this topic called as rain and rivers. The months of April, May and June, we felt very sultry and hot. After these months is followed the rainy season. Do you enjoy playing in rain? Do you? Very good. But this rainfall doesn't occur throughout the year. Only for few months you experience this rainfall. What causes this rainfall? Do you know how this rainfall is caused? Do you know it? No. Let us learn about the mechanism of that rainfall in today's class. Let me give you one example. Pranav woke up early in the morning. He wanted to take a hot shower, a hot bath, hot water bath. So he took a dish and kept on the stove. He started heating it up. After some time, this water got vapor and touched to the lid. Because of the cool air outside, the water got condensed and the water droplets touched this lid. As the Pranav started opening the lid, some of the drops fell into the dish. So he understood that water got vapor because of heat, and it also turned into the droplets of water because of the cool air which was present outside. So with this example, he tried to understand the mechanism of rainfall. The story of rainfall begins with water vapor, children. What is this water vapor? What is water vapor? Water vapor means if you put your dry clothes, if you put your wet clothes in open area to get them dry, after some time you notice that water in your clothes disappear and they get dried. Or similarly, if you put a plate with water outside, after few days the water disappear from the plate. Then how this happened? It happened with a process called as evaporation. The process through which the water turns into vapor is called as evaporation. So in order to evaporate, there should be heat. But you know, children, you might have noticed there are vast water bodies. Oceans are there, seas are there, lakes are there, rivers are there. There are many water bodies present on the earth, and they naturally evaporate, and that water gets vapor. So this makes us to understand that without an artificial heating up also, naturally water turns into vapor. It turns into vapor. So evaporation is a process through which water turns into vapor. Then after turning into vapor, where does this vapor travel towards? The vapor, the hot air, along with the hot air, the vapor rises up. It rises up and it reaches the high sky. After reaching the high sky, as you travel up, the temperature decreases. It becomes cool down. Whatever dust and other particles which are around this vapor, it gets gathered and they form into clouds. They form as clouds. These clouds further rise up, and as they reach a point called as saturation point, saturation point. That means this vapor, once it reaches to that point, the vapor turns into droplets of water. Teeny droplets of water it turns into. It turns into lakhs and millions of droplets of water. So even after turning into droplets of water, it further rises up, and as the temperature further decreases, as I told you before, the temperature as you travel above the earth's surface decreases. So because of this phenomena, the vapor turned into water, and the process of vapor turning into water is called as condensation. Children, we learned two important terminology in the process of rainfall. One is evaporation, the another one is condensation. Evaporation means the water turning into vapor, the process of water turning into vapor is called as evaporation. The vapor turning back into water is called as condensation. So this condensed water join together the droplets of water, and the drop become very big, and the cloud cannot hold it anymore or any longer, and it keeps on depositing back onto the earth's surface in the form of water, or we call it as rainfall. This is the story behind how the rainfall occurs, children. In this entire story, you need to remember two important terms. One is evaporation, the another one is condensation. We also had come across another important term called as water vapor and the droplets of water. This is the entire story of rainfall. In the next class, we shall learn about rivers and other things. Hope you understood. Thank you, children.